The last time I was in a theater was back in February. On February 29th, I saw The Invisible Man. I really enjoyed that, but I hadn't been inside a theater since then. That is a while ago. I'll do the math and put it right there. And my city has this pop-up drive-in. That's pretty sick. We get to go. I sometimes go with my friends, see some old movies, some stuff like that. That's really fun, but there's nothing like being inside a theater. And finally today, I returned to the theater to see Inception in IMAX. I've never seen anything in IMAX before, but I saw Inception. Now, many of you can agree that Inception is one of the greatest films ever made. It's been one of my favorites for a while. I remember the first time I watched it was 2018 while we were going through renovation. I remember I started watching this on my iPad mini. I started watching Inception, directed by Christopher Nolan, on my iPad mini. And then I remember being in the basement because we were renovating our main floor and seeing the image of Mal outside on the ledge, and it paused because it was on Netflix. And then a few months ago, back in this, I watched it at home again on Netflix, just main floor TV. That was cool, but nothing will ever do Christopher Nolan's films justice like the theater. Now, this is not exactly a review of Inception. I just want to talk about my experience today, watching it in IMAX, seeing what it's like in IMAX for the first time, what it's like watching Inception in theaters, and I'm very excited. Tenet's coming out next week. I get to see it. I don't know what day exactly. I'm guessing Wednesday. I don't know if it's going to be in IMAX or not, but I am so excited for that. And I just want to talk about some things, some scenes with the film, how it all happened, all that stuff. So, spoiler warning for Inception. If you haven't seen it, you really do deserve it to be spoiled for you. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. I said it 3 times, but that's the take I'm using. And yeah, no, of course, no spoilers to Tenet. I haven't seen Tenet, but okay. So this is what happened. This was my day. Today, my mom and I saw it with her. We got up, we left at around 12. We went to a mall which has this theater in it, and we shopped for a while, obviously masks on, all that stuff. You know, we went to American Eagle, I got some jeans, that was cool. We went into a root store, she got a sweater, and we also went to Sunrise Records, which is a really nice store for movies for me. I got these movies, Boogie Nights, Brokeback Mountain, Shawshank Redemption, which I somehow didn't own, and Zodiac. A bunch of those are some of my favorites, so I was very excited to get those. And then our showing started at 3:30, so we got there at about 3:15. You know, you walk in, it normally is connected, but they blocked off the part where it's connected, so you go, we dropped our bags off, went into there, got the tickets, got snacks, we went into the theater, and I remember just walking in. Now, I haven't been to a theater in months, I don't know, and because in my city, our theater is a piece of garbage. It looks like a block. It literally is just a gray block on the outside, and it's a lot smaller. It's not a Cineplex like this. And we went in there, and the screen was from the floor to the ceiling. It was massive, and I was like, "Is this what it's normally like? Because this is amazing." I knew IMAX was bigger. Definitely louder, I'll talk about that later. And we sat down and we were the only ones in the theater. It was very nice too because I knew this had something to do with Tenet. I have some theories on the connection between Inception and Tenet. I don't know if they're true or not, but I won't say them here. I'll say them in my spoiler review of Tenet, probably, if they are correct. So you sit down and it's just us, it's just me and my mom in the theater. When you get in the theater, you can take your mask off because you know you have to eat popcorn and drink and all that stuff. And we're watching it and it's just showing lots of behind the scenes of Tenet, but not big plot points. Like there's lots of John David Washington training, so you see him like flipping guys over him, but it's not like, they're not always scenes from the movies, they just show the training of it. Now you do see they talk about like crashing that 747, which they also mentioned in Inception. I caught on to that this time. The plane that they crash, a lot of the stuff, just the practical effects, and seeing that it's just so inspiring. Listening to someone like Christopher Nolan, one of my favorite directors ever, talk about film in that way and how they do these practical, amazing effects. And then before Inception started, that went on for about 10 minutes. It was pretty cool. You know, John David Washington talked a lot. My mom's like, he sounds like his father, Denzel, obviously. And I was like, he really does. And Robert Pattinson, of course, Nolan, Kenneth Branagh talked too, and just a few people, producers, stuff like that. It was very cool to see that. And then they played maybe 3 to 5 minute thing about Inception, just kind of showing some of the behind the scenes. That's where I got this picture here. It's not from the movie, don't worry. But I, of course, didn't go on my phone during this movie because you really got to pay attention. And then, so they talked that, and the thing that Nolan said that really will stick with me forever is Inception is being re-released for a generation of filmmakers who didn't get to see it the first time in the theater. And that's really me. I, of course, want to become a director when I'm older. And seeing Inception in the theater is just something totally different than, of course, watching it on a little iPad mini, which is over there. This thing doesn't even work anymore. I watched Inception on this. It's like nothing. It's not like watching a TV, especially in IMAX. Now, it was kind of funny because we start watching the movie. Now, I'm going to talk about the movies. I'm going to talk about some scenes in particular. And like 40 or 50 minutes in, these two other people walk in. Now, they were quiet. It was good. It's not like when I saw Die Hard in the theater back in 2018 where this dad brought his kid and his kid was going down the stairs for like half the movie, which was really annoying. They didn't say like a thing during the entire movie. They just kind of tripped going up the stairs, which was fine. And then we're watching this movie, and I've seen it twice before, but I was just blown away. The practical effects, even the use of CGI. Now, of course, when they walk on the wall up, of course, some of that has to be CGI. But my favorite scene, this might be my favorite action scene or sequence of all time. It's really, there's some from obviously The Dark Knight that I really want to mention in Terminator 2, Die Hard, all these things. But it's that third level dream sequence where you get the iconic hallway fight scene. It starts, they go in there, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's still on that second level, and then they obviously are driving in the van where that's their first level, they're asleep on there. And they hit the thing, and the van starts flipping, but it's in slow motion. So when Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I'm trying to explain it, it's really funny, but I'm just going to show you the clip. This is for people who haven't seen it. The van is flipping, so then the hallway, which they actually did, there's also behind the scenes, starts rotating, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is fighting guys as it's spinning. And just the score is kicking in. It is so strong. I have chills now talking about it, but I had chills watching it. I was like, this is why I love film. This is exactly why. And then, of course, just the mix of everything, the mix of obviously them shooting through the snow stuff, or one of my favorite lines ever from Tom Hardy.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
It was just mind-blowing, and even that opening sequence, that's what I really love about this film, is that a lot like The Dark Knight, Nolan throws you straight into the situation. You get there, Leonardo DiCaprio's pull off the beach, he goes in there, blah, 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 blah. Ken Watanabe shows up, and then he starts shooting people. Of course, Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets shot in the leg or foot, and it's just, he throws you straight in there, and then you have scenes of exposition, but they aren't exposition scenes. There's always something interesting going on, or they always throw in something with the script. So when Tom Hardy is introduced, there's jokes with him in, and he is amazing in this movie. He's so funny here. Him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt have an amazing dynamic. And Ellen Page, everyone is fantastic. Leonardo DiCaprio, though, his performance is underappreciated here because he really has some emotional scenes, and his character is so layered. You see him actually bring in like real life things to the dreams. Obviously, he's building his dreams from memories, which you're not allowed to do, yet he's still doing it, and he's still fighting with his past of obviously Mal, that's the word, or name. And he's still fighting with that, and that gives the film conflict. That gives his character real motivation. That's what I really love about Inception, is it's so layered. And when my mom watched it, she was confused for a lot of it. I had to explain a lot to her after, and she really didn't get a lot of it. But when you're paying attention, it makes sense. There's this thing where Tom Hardy, when they take Cillian Murphy, they put him into the dream, and Tom Hardy practices playing like his uncle, so that's what Cillian Murphy sees. And then when they get later onto the dreams, and you have that funny thing where Ken Watanabe he says something to him, and then Tom Hardy's standing behind, he's like going like this. That was funny, so when I tried to explain that to her, she was like, I don't know what's happening, which is understandable, but they also talked about it before. So when I was watching this, I was paying attention to every single little detail, and I'll talk about the ending at the end of this video. But the visuals, they just blew me away. The sound design, though, that's what really got me. There's that, of course, the train sequence where the train goes straight through and it breaks all like the cars apart. The second that hit was so crazy, and of course all the gunfire sounded real. There's this great scene where someone shoots from the left, and you hear it like straight. I heard it like straight from behind me. It was great. We were on I-16 or 17, so if you have the theater memorized, that's where we were. And just the sound design to Inception is one of the best I've heard. The way that they use little details inside the spinning top, and to go to the end. And okay, before I go to the end, I have to talk about the score. The score is one of my favorites ever. I think my favorite movie score, well, I mean, there's some classic answers, you know, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean, stuff like that. But if you exclude those, or even above those, it might be The Dark Knight, but Inception is followed close behind because it really adds to so many of the scenes. There's the one scene where they figure out that they've messed up, and they're on the third level where it's all snowy. And I think Cillian Murphy had been shot because Leonardo DiCaprio did not shoot Mal first. And then the score just dies out quickly, and it really adds to the emotion here. But let's talk about the ending. What do I think? I've really been thinking about this a lot, but I think he's awake. I watched a Screen Rant video from 2018 that really proves my theory. But first, before I talk about what they said in that video, what I think is because the way that you see the top shaking and it looks like it's gonna fall, and of course, you know, it keeps spinning. If you're in a dream, it falls. If you're in real life, I think because there was that hint of it kind of like jolting and looking like it's gonna fall, it's different. But what Screen Rant talked about is that when Michael Caine, who plays his father-in-law, like his kid's grandpa, Mal's dad, or maybe his, but I think it's Mal's dad. Sorry. I'm talking fast a lot here. I don't normally do this because I just love this movie so much. Michael Caine asks, if you don't know who Michael Caine is, I'm sorry, but he asked Christopher Nolan what scenes are a dream, what scenes reality, and Christopher Nolan said that all of his scenes are in reality. So, of course, he's in that ending scene where he sees his kids turn around. And the way that the top spun, apparently the sound design was different. I didn't catch on to that. And apparently Leonardo DiCaprio's like wedding ring, you can see it in dreams, but not in real life. Like when he wakes up at the end, you don't see it, which I did notice that. I wasn't always paying attention for that. So I think that also proves that he was not dreaming and he was finally awake to see his kids. And I will not talk about my Tenet predictions here because some people were posting them on Twitter and people were getting mad saying don't spoil the movie, but it's like we haven't seen the movie. But I still won't, just in case someone in the comments has seen it early and they want to say that. Don't comment any spoilers for Tenet, even if this video is a week old. Don't do that. I'm going to be seeing Tenet next week, hopefully on Wednesday. It is Thursday right now. I'll have my review as soon as possible, and a spoiler video, and a ranking of Nolan's films. Trust me, this one will be near the top. And thank you all for watching. If you've seen Inception, especially in the theaters, tell me what you think in the comments down below. And I will see you guys next time. Over and out. Were you dreaming that you saw this video, or is it real? Over and out.